They've had enough. This race begins in one of France's largest cities, Toulouse, 131 miles, and it's considered the single most difficult mountain race in the Tour de France. The most telling climb comes near the end of the race. It's the Col de Tourmalet, where the men race to the highest elevation in this year's Tour, 7,000 feet. The trip straight back down readies them for the last climb up to the winter resort of Luz Ardiden. It's expected to take 7.5 hours to complete. And with the hiking ahead, no one was in any hurry to burn out in the early going. The first part of the race saw the pack together, snaking its way through the foothills of the Pyrenees. But even though the riding appeared relaxed, the riders were not. Bernard Hinault looking like an angry prize fighter the day after. Greg LeMond has no time for chatter with the team car. Uncharacteristic for the American with that boyish demeanor. Wasn't there a time when Greg LeMond and the rest wore early morning smiles? The only playful man on a bicycle today, Stephen Roche, who was one of the top mountain men, suddenly found a lot of attention. It's as if the mountain knew this was the day to welcome the Tour de France. For as the serpent of cyclists left the valley and the gallery waited, the foul weather danced across the peaks to a devilish symphony. The worst possible conditions for the most arduous climb of the Tour de France. Through the fog, and barely visible, a bright piece of yellow. But Hinault and his pack were falling behind. Standing along the roadway, you could feel it. There was something more than an opaque mist hanging in the air. A message read on the face of Bernard Hinault, had he truly recovered from the crash. The hunger in the legs of Greg LeMond, now climbing ahead of Hinault. Here was a race that could change the overall time standings in one day. Here was a race that could strip Hinault's yellow jersey right off his back. Hinault's coach, Paul Coakley, knew it. Because up ahead was Stephen Roche, helping to carry the American Greg LeMond up the mountain with him.
Greg LeMond, world's number 1 or number 2? What's in the mind of the ambitious American as the call of the Pyrenees is heard only by the strongest? It's every man for himself now, and after being second for most of the Tour, LeMond counters the attack by Stephen Roche, who, at the time bomb of this race, is about to explode. Behind, Hinault's group struggles, and LeMond follows the common enemy, and for the La Vie Claire team, there are now 2 choices. Allow LeMond to go and hope he can beat Roche, or make him slow Roche down. Joined by a Colombian climber, the 3 open up a sizable lead over Hinault. The highest climb gives nothing away, but LeMond and his group have now built an attack with a gap of 1 minute 16 seconds. Hinault, the rider who's covered the course in the best time so far, has seen his early gains eroded by a teammate. LeMond checks with his coach, and on the descent, should he attack or try to slow Roche down and let Hinault catch up? Finally, Hinault reaches the summit. He must be a worried man now. On the hardest day of the Tour, the 9 miles climb up to the ski station of Luz Ardiden holds the answers. No one has ridden it before. The Tour has never been there. It's a secret which will soon be revealed. LeMond thinks he can win the Tour de France, but first he must find the strength on this 5,000 feet climb to break Roche. Fate, is it also on his side? For Roche punctures, and LeMond doesn't wait for him or Hinault. To save time, the Irishman grabs a new bicycle and a rather long push uphill, which the referees decided not to see. Roche continues to intrude in a personal battle now between 2 teammates. At last, LeMond is free to prove he is the best. But what about loyalty to his friend and mentor who needs just 1 more win to make history with 5 Tours de France? Doesn't LeMond owe him something?
Does American Greg LeMond owe anyone anything? to his teammate and close friend, Greg LeMond. The Golden Fleece is up for grabs, where Pyrenean mist has fashioned this bizarre battleground.
So Greg LeMond has his chance. What is going through his mind as he rides alongside Roche, who has rejoined after his puncture? LeMond is now under instructions from his team manager to slow Roche down. On a mountain, that's not easy. So LeMond rides alongside Roche, matching his speed, but not exceeding it. Has LeMond decided not to win the Tour? Why can't a rider in a winning position go for gold? Maybe his team doesn't have the faith in him that they have in Hinault surviving until Paris. In any case, to win, LeMond must leave Roche behind. And Roche has already shown his strength in the mountains by recovering from that puncture. LeMond's dilemma has turned into a nightmare. He knows he's strong. To the chance of his name, Hinault, the Badger continues to fight, followed by his teammate, Nicky Reutemann. What's in the mind of LeMond? Treachery, or is it loyalty? LeMond's team director attempts to make the decision, and he talks to LeMond, telling him to ride with Roche, but not to break from him. LeMond doesn't appear to like the idea. But in case he didn't get the message first time, the command is repeated. Led by Reutemann, his teammate Hinault is forced to discover new strengths to prove he really is the rightful holder of the yellow jersey. Up front, the argument goes on in French, and for the first time in this Tour, LeMond rebels against the team's instructions. He angrily attempts to persuade his coach that he should be given the chance to win the Tour. LeMond is now a frustrated young man. He knows he has the strength to attack, but his own team will not allow him to leave his leader behind. At long last, his instinct to win has shown through, and it clashes with his conscience to leave his mentor and close friend. Hinault, injured and confused, keeps a rhythm up the mountain. He knows now he is vulnerable, but he's not sure if his enemy is Roche or LeMond.
And is LeMond's enemy Roche or his coach? LeMond, a bright star on a team with one even brighter. He backs off his pace on the climb up the mountain they call Luz Ardiden. What a crushing command to obey when you feel in your heart that in your legs is the power to become the first American ever to wear the Golden Fleece. As LeMond slows, the riders between he and Hinault begin to close in, and soon the passive climbing of LeMond attracts more riders. Hinault, leading his chase group, begins to close down the time gap. Does the Frenchman even know his American teammate has been told he must reduce the pace of his race with Roche to save Hinault's yellow jersey? Hinault hired LeMond to ride with him on La Viclaire, and now it's clear who's riding for whom. The thoughts in the mind of the American now surely as cloudy as the mountain air through which he rides. Like a magnet, LeMond and Roche attract even more, and their Pied Piper procession continues. Hinault is now only 1 minute behind. LeMond's group of 2 has become 10 as they near the finish line. And LeMond's group would finish 1 minute 13 seconds ahead of Hinault in this race, while the Frenchman in that yellow leader's jersey knew if he maintained his current pace up the mountain, he would surely stay in yellow. And the thousands along the mountain road who had just seen LeMond knew Hinault would be safe.